legislature has begun passing their biennial budget plans, and the Senate's State Government and Elections bill will soon be on the floor for a vote. I spoke with Senator Mary Kiffmeyer, chair of the State Government Committee, about some of the proposals in the bill. Ensuring election integrity has been a concern of yours since you were Secretary of State. And once again, you're championing the implementation of provisional ballots, which are used when one voter vouches for another when their identification isn't readily available. What percentage of voters would cast a provisional ballot in your estimation?
I would expect that, like nationally, Minnesota would follow the national pattern. So if you notice in the last election, this was not an issue nationally. It didn't rise to that level. And I think Minnesota will do it well, as we usually do. I think that's really important. The important thing to remember, though, with provisional ballots is that it treats all voters equally. So we don't realize sometimes when you pre-register, you go through a verification process. It's a voter registration application. And so you go through that, and once that is complete and you're verified that you're eligible, then your application is accepted and you're entered into the voter registration system. However, on election day, verification happens after the ballot is cast, which means that a voter may be determined to be ineligible, but now their ballot is cast and you can't pull it out later on. So it's equal treatment of voters, no matter whether you pre-register or you register. An election day registration will still be there as always, and they will still be able to cast their provisional ballot, but the verification will be done first. And no voter in that situation will have to come back to the polling place like you or to a county office. Just like now when you pre-register, you don't. That verification happens behind the scenes. And then we've also built in a notice so that whatever the situation, that you'll be able to know what has happened in that regard. But like nationally, 47 states plus the District of Columbia, and we can do it well. We can do it well here in Minnesota, and same day registration still there, just as before.
Now, as you just said, nearly all states do use provisional ballots. Are you confident then that Minnesota's history of high voter turnout would be maintained if we do adopt provisional balloting?
Well, it's interesting because they just did a study recently on voter ID, and in Minnesota, that result was 69% favor of voter ID. And also provisional ballots also have shown that whether it's voter ID or provisional ballots, the voter turnout is the same or even better statistically. And so I think actually when you have confidence in your election and the election integrity, it tends to increase voter turnout. And I expect that we will either preserve or stay the same or go a little bit higher with provisional ballots. And if we could do that with voter ID, all the better.
Let's move to your oversight of state agency budgets. The Senate Republicans are calling for 5% reduction in state agency budgets. What message do you have for those agency commissioners as they look to maybe find some areas to trim? And has how those state agencies have operated during the pandemic provided greater confidence to you that there are cost savings to be found?
It's interesting, and the governor actually reduced the agency budgets by 5%. And so we've already proven that they can do it with 5%. And I've heard this from agencies all the time, both with a large amount of federal money coming in to subsidize them. We have to remember that's part of this too. And then at the same time, the efficiencies I find usually happen when you're in a situation where you have to. And I have some experience with that when Governor Plenty was around. All the constitutional offices and agencies had a 15% reduction in their base budget from the previous year. We survived. We continue to do better service. I found savings in my office as Secretary of State that I didn't know existed until we were put in the position that we had to look and find them. We did very, very well. And the improvements we made not only continued for that budget cycle, but continued forward into future budget cycles. I'm confident these agencies can handle this. They've proven so already, and I believe in confidence in them, they can do so in the future.
Your committee budget bill includes a provision that was brought forward by Senator David Tomassoni that would stipulate that state employee layoffs must be geographically distributed equally. Have rural areas of the state lost easy access to state services? Is that the reason for this provision?
Absolutely. Two issues are here, that employees are fairly distributed around the state, especially today with remote work. There's no reason why they can't be settled into a rural part if that's what they want to do and they have that kind of access. But we found this with driver's license. Matter of fact, DVS has been closing down and then not reopening. So in Wright County, the city of Buffalo had a driver's license testing area. It's been closed and initially closed because of COVID, but now they'll say they're moving to regional. And in rural Minnesota, regional means very, very long drives. And really everybody in the state of Minnesota should have at least one within their county or close enough to them. And so this is a kind of a metrocentric kind of an approach that definitely disadvantages rural Minnesota. And Senator Tomassoni's bill, I thought, really had merit. If you're going to lay off people, make sure you don't just lay them off in rural Minnesota. Make sure that they're laid off equally in metro and in rural if that kind of situation happens. Let's be fair to rural Minnesota.
Minnesotans may well remember the problems that this state has had with the rollout of various computer systems. The vehicle registration system comes to mind. There was also the launch of MNsure. Also, our state computer systems have been breached, with as large of a breach at the Department of Human Services and a small breach here at the Minnesota Senate. This budget calls for the creation of a commission on cybersecurity. What do you want this commission to tackle?
Well, I think in this area, the commission, which is bipartisan and also has House, an equal number of House and Senate members. So that's what's really important here. So when they look at things, they take a broader, larger overview look. So the tendency is to look at one piece of software or one budget area. And so with a commission on cybersecurity, they're going to be looking at a broader look at the state as an entity on the state level cybersecurity. I think that's going to be something that is unique and different to this regard. And the other thing is that this commission would be empowered to have meetings, to have very private data that you wouldn't otherwise do in a public hearing, because you don't want to tell the hackers of the problems, right? You don't want to tell the hackers where the issues are. So you want to be able to have this commission, and uniquely so, you can do that in this commission, given special authority to do that. I've been a supporter of this for several sessions, and I think this time we're going to get it done.
Before we go, I want to ask you about one other thing. It's an important bill that you're carrying that will be on the Senate floor this week, and it ensures that support services are provided for pregnant inmates. Under this legislation, what should the state corrections system do, and why is it important?
Well, the big thing and the major focus is the humanity that we have, and in particular, the babies. The babies didn't commit any crime, but the babies are affected by what the mother has chosen to do. And so our compassion for them, and that in the public good, to have the baby stay with mom. And in a prison system, that is not designed for the best for the babies. And so most of the time, pregnant women are in for very short terms. And again, a 9-month pregnancy. So they might come in pregnant and leave with the baby, but separated from the baby for 6 months. Mothers need to bond, babies need to bond with their babies. And so this is only a particular criteria, a subset of, so violent offenders would not qualify for this. This would be for those who are in a different category. But the other thing is not only that, my hope is that this would stop the vicious cycle. So you separate mom and baby, now you're getting off on the wrong foot. And many times women, they're motivated to do better in life when they have a baby, and a baby to take care of and to look out for. So you want to use both of those things for the good of the baby and the good of the mother to maybe stop that vicious cycle. They'll get help, drug treatment, job training, education training, good healthy nutrition, be able to help mom and baby have a good start. And again, the criteria is, again, not violent offenders, not those who be at a risk to society, but they will still be carefully monitored and also carefully observed and watched. So this isn't like a free pass in any way, shape, or form, but I think the public good is well served in this particular subset by doing this. So I'm very glad to be the chief author of the bill to carry forward. And as a former registered nurse and mom as well, you know, just have a heart for, and you see this happening, the vicious cycle of cyclical things, and hopefully this will help to, at least in some small measure in this way, to stop that vicious cycle.
Senator Mary Kiffmeyer, it is always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you for having me.